Hi guys, I've got another page in my Traveler's Notebook using the Cocoa Daisy Traveler's Notebook and Classified kits. And funnily enough, this entire page is basically inspired by this charm here. This is one of the Sunny Days charms. It's going to be very hard to see. It's got tiny little peaches on it. And I just loved the colors in it. I've got this sort of blue purpley photo of my I want to say wisteria, I think that's right. And I've chosen to put it on this page in the notebook that has just a blank page on one side and blue on the other. So I created this little paperclip charm for myself. I just added a little jump ring to the top of the charm and attached that to a gold paperclip. And I'm going to base the rest of the colors on the page off that sort of peachy pinky colored charm up there. So I want to do a little bit of mixed media on this page, so I'm going to use some modeling paste, and I want to color the modeling paste into that sort of pink and peachy color. So I grabbed a couple of inks, and I'm just using a tiny piece of packaging that was in the kit. I smushed out two different colored inks. One is sort of a peachy color and one is a very pink, very bright pink. And then I'm going to mix those into the modeling paste just with a palette knife like this. Not particularly technical. I've obviously got way too much ink compared to modeling paste. I actually probably could have done with a little bit more modeling paste, but I make it work. And I'm just spreading that over the stencil, and the stencil came in the Traveler's Notebook kit. I'm avoiding the top right sort of quadrant of this stencil because it's going to be covered up by photo. In fact, quite a lot of this will be covered up by photo, but I didn't want to waste the small amount of modeling paste that I had, so I've just mushed about the different areas so that the colors sort of overlap but not blend all in together. Now, when that modeling paste dried, it was incredibly neon. It doesn't look that bad here on camera, but in real life it was definitely not the soft peach that I had wanted, so I've just toned that down with a little bit of gesso and let that dry again. I also added a tiny bit of gesso to the right hand side of the page just to tie in the gesso-y sort of painted look. On the left hand page there you can see the gesso on top of the white paper, so I wanted to make it look a bit more purposeful, so I did add that to the right hand side as well. Now I'm just going through all the Sunny Days ephemera that was in the confidential kit and picking out anything that is in those same sort of peachy pinky tones, because that's the sort of dominant color that I want to add into this page to tone down, I guess, the blueness of it, or just to give it a different look anyway, without it being completely yellow and blue throughout this entire notebook. I loved that sunshine acetate piece, but it didn't quite work with how I wanted the page to be laid out, because I've already done my mixed media down here and I'm planning on having my photo towards the bottom of the page. The sunshine title across the top there didn't really work. So literally all I'm doing is auditioning these pieces, just trying to find a balance from the pink modeling paste that I've done on the left hand side to create a little pink cluster on the right. I hope I said left the first time. Anyway, I'm trying to balance the left and the right hand sides of the page. That stripy piece was the one that I went for. It was more the right color tone. The other florals were a little bit almost on the red side. They weren't the pinky colors that I wanted anyway, so I've just cut off the wee green piece at the bottom of this stripy piece. It stood out far too much. It was very, very dark, very dominant, so I chopped that off, and then I'm just layering up that piece with the tag, which is more of a sort of cooler toned pink, and that's kind of what I wanted to tone the purples in these photos. If the entire page is too warm toned pink, it's going to make this purple sort of stick out without having any way to make it belong to the page. So I do want the cooler tone blues and the cooler tone pinks to contrast with those warmer pinks on the page. I did split my photo down the middle. I don't like to bend a photo over the fold of a notebook like this, so I did trim it a little bit, and because I wanted to have a bit more of that modeling paste showing, I did trim a piece off the left piece of that photo, so the photo is slightly narrower than it was originally, but it still has the focus of the photo in the middle. Now the Confidential kit came with this really cute stamp set, sort of a buildable title builder kind of stamp set. So I want to say enjoy the view, and I'm going to stamp out the word view with the alpha that came in the Traveler's Notebook set. But like I was saying about the cool versus warm toned pinks, that's exactly the problem I'm having. I needed to find a cooler toned pink, one that was slightly more purple looking, and this one looks on the ink pad like it's gonna be not right at all, but actually I loved the color it was when it was stamped. It's this really kind of violet-y pink, which I think just brings in an extra tone, an extra different tone of pink. Oh, and watch me nearly spell view wrong there. And it just ties in the pinks and the purples and the blues all together. I think it's that bridging color between the warm toned pinks all the way through to the cooler blues. So I'm stamping out the word view. This is a pigment ink, so it does take a tiny bit longer to dry than my usual dye inks, but I've nearly finished this page. That's how simple it is, so I'm not worried about leaving it open for a little bit to dry. Now on top of the view, I am going to stamp enjoy that, and I'm just hanging that off the edge of the page, so it sort of almost looks like my handwriting coming onto the page, even though my handwriting looks nothing like that. Definitely not that neat. Now I just want to embellish just a little bit more, and I was wondering about journaling, and actually the reason I had pulled out this card from the ephemera pack was because it literally said what I wanted my journaling to say, which was falling in love with this place. And I think it's taken me a while to discover our house and the garden as it sort of came to life during the spring and the summer, and every time I get a little surprise, I just fall more and more in love with it. So that was what I wanted the journaling to say anyway, so I figured that this was a neater way of doing it. I'm not happy with where I've placed that charm, so I'm going to pop it over on the left hand side above the title that I've built. It hangs a little bit low, so I do sneakily off camera go and swap that out for a shorter paper clip, and you can see here it fits in nicely. I am loving this page and how bringing in those pink tones can change the entire tone of this kit. It is still available from the Cocoa Daisy store, so I will leave the link for you down below in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.